Hello and welcome to
60.
the Nightfall podcast. I am the Great Red Shift, and with me today we have Kalen, Europa Halo, Viking
Hello.
Manatee Mike, and our special guest today we have Batchford. So
Hello.
first off, let's get kind of straight into it. We're going to go into kind of Halo, the Master Chief Collection, and kind of the road to Halo Infinite itself. So, kind of first on there is that the Master Chief Collection was announced for PC. It's coming to Steam. It's coming to the Windows Microsoft Store. Let's start with Kalen first. What are your initial thoughts kind of going into this? It's confirmed. We have the news. Finally, what's your initial take?
Massive point is Steam. Steam support for me is huge. I mean, you have all that collective Steam workshop that could be available now for MCC. How the potential of that could be brought forward into the MCC is limitless if it really does happen. But you look at things like just it being Steam and just the relationship down the road for me as well is important with Halo Infinite on the way, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, Steam support's probably the big point for me.
Cool. Mike?
I do. It does. It's definitely a step in the right direction. It's just because the way I see it is that it gives them a lot of chance to get some valuable experience for like bringing a Halo port to the PC with multiplayer on it. So it gives them good grounds to build up from, ready for Infinite, because they've already said they wanted to bring that as well. So even if it's just a colossal flop, which I don't think it will be, then it gives them building blocks to work from going forward.
No, cool.
Ready for the important one on Infinite.
Now, Batchford, what were your initial thoughts, especially you as a kind of a pro player and kind of going forward?
It's a pretty incredible announcement. I think one thing that people really haven't thought about is how easy LANs are going to be able to set up now, because if Halo is coming to PC, they could just use PCs to hold LANs. So I think the player, not only is the player base going to explode, but there's going to be so many new players getting into the competitive scene, going to events, just because PC will be used at LAN potentially. So I think thumbs up. Very exciting.
That will give us. I think that will bring a rise into more of the bring your own computer kind of LAN sort of
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
a lot of the infrastructure is still actually quite there in terms of LANs as well. I mean, most big major organizations have PCs available already. You look at Counter-Strike's, League of Legends, the infrastructure is already there in place. They don't have to go out now to buy new consoles, which could change next gen or that. If MCC is going on the PC, then so is Halo 6 or Halo Infinite. Still the same infrastructure there in place, And all these rigs are capable.
They're just lowering the barrier of entry, basically. It's all it's doing. It's just allowing more people to access Halo and experience it. So, that's a huge win for the franchise.
So kind of the way that it's been announced, so it's a staggered launch, kind of how we've seen with kind of how some Steam games are, the kind of green light kind of stage they're going with. Now the first title that was announced, so we're going in chronological order of kind of the whole Halo franchise, is Reach. Because with the kind of the competitive side, originally Reach wasn't very well received until kind of later on in its life. What kind of in the sense of the competitive side, how do you think it is?
Honestly, I think V7 is one of the most competitive. You can bash me all you want, but I think V7 4v4 is one of the best Halos to date. So I'm not too upset about it, but I can see why people would be kind of salty that Reach is the first game, and I know people have been waiting a decade for Halo 3 to do on PC. So a lot of the announcement around MCC going to PC is Halo 3 coming to PC finally. People can finally finish the fight, I guess. But I still think Reach is a good choice for a first game.
And to follow up question from there, what sort of settings are you hoping that they'll kind of throw straight into the mix as soon as this comes out?
There's got to be options for Zero Bloom no Sprint. Well, Zero Bloom anyway, because Sprint was just an add-on.
Needs to be post-patch. Needs to be post-patch.
Yeah,
100%.
Definitely. There's going to be no competitive Reach if it's anything before that.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see how the new players come in. old players too. You look at like the likes of players that are currently on the rotation, sort of the older end of the spectrum anyway, with professional Halo players in the Halo 5 life cycle anyway. A lot of them started off with Reach. It'll be interesting to see how they drive or that momentum forward with it. You look at players like Ninja, who was really heavily involved in the Reach sort of
That
pro
was his
scene.
breakout game.
Yeah, I mean, like he's already said on Twitter that he's going to be interested in basically running games with the likes of Nated and that whenever it runs in PC. So that opens up everything to a brand new, community, a brand new market. Because Ninja, like it or not, the guy got paid $1 million just to play Apex on the first day it came out. If he does naturally play Halo without any incentive, you're getting a
Yeah.
Yes. I just hope he plays the setups again, man. I want to see more content based like that. I just want a rematch so bad.
Yeah.
So it looks like kind of it's been well received from the majority of players. If you just bear with us a second, we've just had. Oh, Mike, are you back now?
Hello.
We just lost you for
Sorry,
a second there.
I had a moment. I'm back.
No, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
It looks like it's been well received by kind of the general kind of PC community as well. For example, kind of there's been the kind of the main voices. For example, Summit 1G. He's been a massive advocate for kind of Halo on PC, especially when kind of the Forge mode came out for kind of Halo 5. Do you think kind of we will see more people from the kind of the other titles kind of come into the fold if for example kind of Halo on PC is kind of the flagship title going forward for the next year or so?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, a lot of people grew up with Halo. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people aren't the biggest fans of Halo 4 and Halo 5, but Halo still is like a household name. Like, it has a legacy. Like, the first 3 games are iconic, as much of a meme that is. Like, it has a weight to it. So I think, yeah, people would definitely jump on board and go back and try it out. If it just because of his name alone, like, if the port is really good, word of mouth will spread, and people who have never tried Halo will play it, like big streamer wise.
No, very good. Anyone else on any input on kind of the PC side? Just as we initially go into kind of the Master Chief Collection with this announcement.
Yeah, you look at the likes of, if any of you's caught Gabe, obviously Steam Gabe, and he answered a fan's email about props to them for getting MCC on Steam, and he gave a lot of credit to the likes of Phil Spencer and his team. I think that's really big actually going forward in that Microsoft's mentality has changed in this last few years, really massively. They've changed from, creating software on their hardware to now creating software for other hardware, and it's a huge change of direction, and it's clearly something that they've gone with here, and it's brilliant because there's the rumors that Halo actually might even come to the Switch, which is mental. Yeah, and I mean, like, there was a rumor. That rumor was driven by the fact that they said like Cuphead and Halo and other Microsoft exclusives may come to the Switch, and what was announced today, Cuphead's coming to the Switch. Yeah. So if those rumors are to be believed, you could be playing Halo 5 on a Switch, which would be mental. I mean, like, imagine a Switch LAN party.
Oh my goodness.
Of Halo 5. It's class.
I would be keen. Just give me a time and place and I'll be there.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think props to Microsoft, and it gives me a lot of encouragement going forward towards Infinite. And like I said, we'll talk about it later in the show, but that's just what I have about in terms of PC. I'll talk about it.
Yeah, cool. So just kind of going from there, you mentioned kind of with everything coming across the Switch, it'd be very interesting to see if especially kind of the kind of cross play. So if, for example, Master Chief Collection does come to the Switch, would you like to see kind of cross compatibility, for example, Xbox to PC and then to the Switch? There's this, like Batch said earlier, lowering that level of entry for the kind of Xbox in general. It looks like there's just going to be so many more players kind of coming into the fold, which helps kind of every scene really in every aspect.
If you got onto the Switch if you now it'd be mental if you got. I don't think it'll ever happen, but if you got like Infinite onto the Switch, and you got a good content creator like Ninja, and you got all this here running, you open it up to this massive community. That you have to say crossplay is going to have to happen. You look at Fortnite, you look how successful it's been. As long as you want to appeal to a wider community and make money off that, because I think that as much as people hate it, Halo's going to go down the microtransaction route, and that's going to have to be a big drive. Is that they need a good population for that in order to keep making money. And I don't necessarily disagree with microtransactions to a certain extent, as long as it's of no benefit to a player. That to give an advantage over another to unlock something, particularly the EA model over the last 5-6 years, which has been outrageous. But you look at the likes of, I give actually a lot of credit to Fortnite. It's a free game, and you pay a battle pass at £7 or whatever, £8. I've never paid it, but you actually can have the chance to earn enough battle tokens or whatever it is. What is it? V-Bucks. You can earn enough V-Bucks or whatever to actually buy the next season pass within buying a season pass. So I think that model is something that maybe Halo could look at if they really want to go down that road. But I think at the same time, I think there's going to be more customization, similar to what Reach customization. I think that route's going to go down with microtransactions. So in terms of crossplay, you're definitely going to need it. And no matter what, like as difficult as it's going to be in terms of relations, it's needed for the overall idea of the game.
Adding to the whole microtransactions thing, I'm pretty sure Free for Free went out and confirmed straight away that there's no loot boxes or anything like a rec system. Well, I think there might be recs, but there won't be rec packs where it's a randomly generated chance where you can get certain items. I think things like skins, weapon skins, would be something that'll be there. Yeah, it should be like Fortnite, where you get it shows you what you can buy, and then you choose what you want. It'd
be interesting if they followed going from that kind of what you're saying with the kind of the Apex model. The game is free. There is that battle pass on top, but like you say, you can see everything that you could potentially have in one of the kind of loot boxes, as it were. But also as well, they'll bring the season pass element to bring those new rewards in for it to kind of keep the engagement going. Now we've kind of gone into the future, especially with kind of the PC version coming across for Master Chief Collection. But let's focus on kind of the history, as it were, of kind of the Master Chief Collection and how it all started, especially with the HCS. At the end of the day, this is kind of a competitive Halo side, and we kind of have to go through kind of that whole sordid history of it. So when it was initially announced, it was Halo 2 anniversary. Sadly, it didn't get the kind of well, in my personal opinion, the hype and the kind of the actual consistency that we see nowadays, especially with how the Master Chief Collection is now. What are your thoughts, especially to kind of you, Mike, and you, Batchford, as especially you have played kind of across multiple, I believe it would be multiple lands across on the Halo 2 anniversary. Did you enjoy it? Would you like to see that return, especially with kind of the kind of phase launch going into the Master Chief Collection on PC? Or do you just never want to see that title kind of played competitively ever again?
I mean, H2A Halo 2 Anniversary on its own was a pretty good game competitively anyway, fundamentally. Some say it was arguably a little too easy to shoot on, much like Halo 5, but as a fundamental game on its own, it wasn't a problem. It was the lack of it was the fact that we'd constantly have the disconnects, the freezes, the blackouts mid games, or even in games when you're supposed to be on LAN and everyone's still teleporting, and it's you literally sat right there. This shouldn't be happening. And there are a lot of times, because I was at both of the the first two events for those, which was Insomnia 53 and the G-Finity invite only, which is they were on consecutive weekends. And I remember exactly what was going on with at the G-Finity. It was bad enough at Insomnia, but I think the worst experience was at the G-Finity, and it wasn't G-Finity's fault at all. But there was such a bad problem with connecting. It took us 3.5 hours to do a best of 3 because we couldn't get everyone in the same lobby, because it was that atrocious. Again, it wasn't G-Finity's fault. It wasn't any of the admins or anything. It was just the game wasn't finished, and it really. when the game was working, because there was that big update, something around March, something like that. There was an update that made the game playable on LAN, and for the rest of that year, we didn't really have too many disconnects. And at that point, it was actually really fun to still attend and compete and stuff because the game was working. It's just that I think so much damage was already done because of how colossal the launch was.
Yeah.
That it kind of the hype really died down, and it never really recovered.
Yeah, cool.
I never competed in the H2A, but I wouldn't want to return to it or want to compete in it, just mainly because of the map selection and how easy it is. Like Mike was saying, I think it's just a dumbed down Halo 2. If we're going to play Halo 2, I'd rather just play Halo 2, the original. So I'm just playing a Halo 4 version of Halo 2 with 3 maps and just, no variation settings. It's just, I don't know, I would just get bored really quickly, really fast. So it's not a bad looking game and it's fun to floor someone, but it's just like having a, I don't know, bread and water. It's just really basic.
I think
you've got what you need to survive, but it's just there's nothing interesting going on.
I think
another big problem was that because of the reliance on Forge maps for competitive settings through Reach and Halo 4, because the disc maps weren't really up to scratch. I think there was still quite a lot of stigma against this is going to be the third Halo in a row where we play 11. There's 11 game types and only 2 of them are on disc maps, and the rest are all forged. I think that it didn't help us, and I think I'm still furious to this day that we didn't get midship because they were holding it back for truth.
Yeah, it's such an atrocious way of thinking. Why not both?
Surely, the most famous map from Halo 2 should be in the anniversary.
Or like a Beaver Creek or something. Why did you give us Relic? And then they're like, we're gonna test it for HCS. Are you joking?
I can kind of see why they didn't do Beaver Creek because it was in the Reach anniversary as well. Well, with the Halo 1, but
I think we should just go full on memes and go back to Halo 4.
Vanilla H4 with Infinity Slayer with all the.
I actually would think it'd be hilarious for people to actually play Halo 4 again and just full community tournaments wise. If we ran a Halo 4 Cup, that would just be hilarious. Halo 4 free for all.
Yeah, and all of the 4 people that would enter it.
Oh, it's 4, you mean?
No, I'm not entering that. That's a hard pass.
Yeah.
So
you might get Looney Dogs to play it, but apart from that, no one else is going to play it. Yeah, he's a bad player.
An outcast.
So moving on.
I love you, Darren.
So moving on from there, let's look at the present really. So we saw South by Southwest happen. In my opinion, from what I've saw, I wasn't able to kind of catch all of it. It looked like one of the most fun events that's actually happened in quite a while. It didn't take itself too seriously, especially seeing kind of those hype clips of Golden Boy versus Walshy. He talked a strong game and then ended up winning a strong game. What was everyone's everyone's takeaways? Would you like to see more events like this? Would you like to see something a bit more serious, or do you think that we got kind of a good balance of the two?
I think we need to see something like that but on a larger scale, so not invitational. I think it's the way forward. So I totally if it's a world finals or something, they should be all suited and booted, you know what I mean? It should be really professional. The venue should be all this fancy lighting and crap. But I think they should take a CS route with LANs and really embrace the whole cultural grassroots. They've got a program called Grassroots, so they might as well just go all in and be let's just make it really casual, but not super casual. Yeah. But if a new viewer came and watched it, they would be oh my god, this is really taking itself too seriously. You know what I mean? They're having some fun, they're having a good time. I think they completely nailed the balance of seriousness and casualness at the same time. I think that's by far one of the best events HGS has ever done. They've really set a really high bar for Dallas. A really high bar.
I'll let you talk, Mike, because I have a lot to talk about it.
Well, I really like the idea of going back to some of these old memeier things like the big team battle show match and the Snipe Down versus Lethal, because we used to get things like the All-Star games and stuff way back when I was still in school, because we're going back a long time for that. But there's those little like community side events that bring in. It's a good way to help again bringing down the barrier to entry, because some of the casuals might see this and they're like, all these people running around in Spartan lasers on Valhalla for 20 minutes. It's a good. Yeah, it's good to not just be like serious, sweat, having some fun and community things in there as well.
It's a good way to get our people involved as well, like content creators and stuff. Like Uber Nick, for example, I just think of his snipe on Snakebite. Like that's like a once in like a lifetime opportunity to do that. Like that would have never happened at any other event. It was just really cool to see. So
yeah, like we saw, like yeah, like we've seen it in the past with like back in, well, it's not Halo, but Black Ops 2. There are quite a few events where they had like actual celebrities coming in and playing in these All-Star games as well, and it wasn't just content creators or like members of the community. They were like actually bringing people in.
I actually had like some negatives. I didn't like the whole roster mania before it. I think wasn't there some changes that people who weren't on a team who got top 6 in the Halo Classic or whatever all of a sudden lost their place because they got booted because they're going, for the money in terms of the actual invitational. Yeah. Annoying that way, and I think they should have handled that a bit better in terms of who had their places. And that's probably one of my main criticisms. But yeah, Mike, what are you saying?
Yeah, I think a roster lock, like as soon as like what was it, UGC, as soon as that ended, the St. Louis, there should have been a roster lock that says, okay, you're not allowed to make a team change unless there's like some kind of extreme circumstance.
Yeah, I think that was quite.
This is the roster you qualified with. This is who you're going with.
Yeah, I think that should have been what's done, and I didn't like a lot of that bringing up. And I thought it was handled in terms of the content on show. I think it was good. The format, I would have maybe 6 teams was enough. Yeah, but I think maybe the format of a bracket. I don't know if it was suitable for a 6-team invitational.
Some of the players are complaining as well that they didn't have like time to warm up. So like the only time they played was when they actually played other teams. So there was no warm up. There was no like preparation. Yeah. That was like the biggest complaint from the players.
I think pool play would have been interesting. 3 group pools, top 2 go through or something like that, or on top get straight to. Probably would have been my idea for that. It would have given guys enough time to get sort of accustomed to an actual competitive environment, especially that pool play. Keeps everybody in. You could have had it across 2 streams, a Bravo stream, whatever. But other than that, huge positives. Big team battle showdown was really top quality content. It's a sort of event in my head that I can see Infinite launching with. Perfect sort of thing that if they get that model across for Infinite, if you have Infinite launches worldwide on a Friday and on the Sunday they have this invitational event straight off, and they get guys like Ninja in, they get guys like Summit or whatever, all these good top quality content creators that have a big massive influence that they can come across onto something as fun as a big team battle with good listenings. The way the actual casters like on set was able to chat to Wonderboy, or not Wonderboy, Golden Boy.
Wonderboy.
Yeah, no, not him.
He man, Harry, he's an observer now, man.
So talking to him was really a cool insight, and definitely something that they should do more often. Possibly even to, I don't know what you, especially you, Batch. I mean, what would your perspective on like talking to, say, a team captain after game 2 and say, like, if the casters want to get their opinion midway through a game, be like, what do you think you did right or wrong? Or
I think that's a really cool idea, but like they could like to be really kind of messed up, because like imagine getting like a heartbreaking defeat and then they're like interviewing you. I'd just like, piss off, mate. Like I'm absolutely tilted right now. But like it's a cool idea and concept, but like they need to be careful because like obviously some people get more salty than others on the main stage.
But yeah, I think it was an enjoyable stream to watch. UGC Classic, when I look back on it, it's not something I'm going to go back and watch again. Whereas something like that, it was something I could have watched again and again. That it was fun. Especially like I said, that big team battle was the highlight for me, to be honest.
The grand finals, dude. Oh my god, the grand finals. Them was just absolutely dunking.
Quality-wise, it was good, but in terms of it being a fun or invitational, it was the smaller wee details like that was fun.
I think it wasn't just a tournament; it was an event.
Yeah. It'd have been fun to be at that event. I'd say it would be one of those ones that if you were sitting there in the crowd, you would actually really enjoy it. And not that I'm saying that you'd not enjoy any Halo event, but it was definitely something that would be probably more considered to be
more fun,
better crack.
More fun for the actual spectator rather than kind of just sitting there quite a lot of downtime. Because one of the things I saw kind of on Twitter, Tashu was kind of saying, like, we tried to kind of refine this downtime, was it noticed, what's kind of everyone's feedback, and just kind of looking kind of on the replies, it was definitely kind of well received. Do you think anything on kind of the scheduling wise? Did you guys appreciate? I especially did, is we didn't get kind of like a 1 a.m. finish. This was actually kind of specifically, I believe it was like 9 o'clock. I think it was around that time. So kind of in the timing wise, it actually worked quite well. Admittedly, if we have bigger tournaments, that's probably not going to work. But kind of in that format, I thought that worked quite well because you get all that audience, and you're not literally, like, for me personally, because it's like Monday it's work kind of thing. You're not staying up till 1 a.m. just kind of waiting to see who's won.
Yeah, timing's going to be an issue, especially going forward. I mean, I would hope that Infinite or future MCC tournaments, even especially with the PC community, that there's going to be more of an influence to the EU side, to the likes of Australia even. And timing on that should be a fact. It's all been in North American one-sided for the last 3 years, really heavily. And I know that the likes of... I remember whenever I said that, Worlds, it'd be fun if Worlds went to Gfinity or went to Wembley.
Yeah, definitely.
The finals, a World Cup can move like in any sport, and Worlds can move in any sort of esports even. But something like Halo moving to Wembley, Wembley's such a great venue, for such an event.
I think that'll become easier with the PC announcement now. Like I said earlier, it'll be easier to hold LANs now. So any organization is like, here, I've got PCs, mate. Let's go LAN, and then
we've already shown we can do an event at Wembley.
Yeah.
Well, not we, but like we've already it's already happened.
Sick event.
See, one of the things as well, especially if kind of the PC side is more adopted and it is kind of mouse and keyboard, there is going to be a lot more influence for kind of the European side anyway. Any majority of kind of esport titles, it is mainly, especially Counter-Strike, is mainly dominated, bar the few exceptions, is by Europe. So if kind of European players come in from that kind of mouse and keyboard kind of side, I think we're going to see a lot more kind of more favourable kind of events, much more consideration for Europe.
Yeah,
I think there's still going to be like a very large number of like controller players outside of keyboard and mouse as well. I'm probably going to be one of them because I'm terrible with the keyboard and mouse. I tried playing PUBG earlier today just for a few games, and it was like I almost put like the hurricane. I put like the hurricanes theme
playing
from
PUBG. That was your first mistake.
I was invited by a friend.
I know.
What, is it called Sims by any chance?
No.
a big thing actually for PC in terms of PC. The capabilities of PC may actually break into the Asian market for Halo.
If it goes
something
that, definitely.
Especially if it went onto the Switch. I mean, not to, Japan has a massive support for the Switch. It could be something that could roll with that if it ran out cheap on the Switch, because it is an aging game. If it's ran for say £15 or £20 for a Switch port, I'd definitely buy it. But you had that whole new audience to the likes of breaking into the Asian market. A lot of PC would be on the Asian sort of thing as well. Definitely ahead of console. So like, I know there was a really small Halo Japan community, and I always wanted to get sort of chatting to them, but I never found out who actually ran it. They ran a few tournaments on Twitch and looked like there was quite a bit of them, but there's nothing become of it because a lot of actually 343's tournament support doesn't reach out there toward that end of the world.
Yeah.
They supported Australia.
They qualify under EMEA, don't they? So they'd have to come over here. Yeah,
But,
they'd
I mean,
have to come over here to count our region.
yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say it is a completely kind of different culture there, kind of how we're used as we are now, kind of PC, kind of console, everything, kind of especially in kind of Korea in the sense they have the PC bangs, so it's not kind of they do have access, but they don't have kind of the immediate access we do. So it's a definitely big kind of culture difference. Be interesting to see if because that if the kind of gaming clubs as they're kind of called there kind of pick the title up. It just depends if kind of that support does reach out. I'd be very interested, and it'd be pretty awesome to actually see for the likes of I believe is it Tai Lu, the Counter Strike on Asia Pacific. But it would be very kind of interesting to see if that side can kind of turn across and come into the fold. Now we have spoke kind of on the Halo 3 event itself. We've just seen as well, Mesa has just announced their roster for I've completely lost the actual city that it is currently in. I am so sorry. Squid Game is forgiving, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So look it up.
What are people's thoughts to kind of this roster, especially with Jimbo being in the fold?
I honestly I've not really watched the scrimmer or anything because I'm not really too invested in Halo 3 at the moment because I'm a jetpacker. No, I'm just kidding. I've watched a little bit, and I know Jim's good at Halo 3. He's like a notorious European matchmaking player. Like he's played it like so much. So I have no doubt in his ability to perform at the highest level. And I know Arkel is a beast as well. Like he's like people used to fear him back in like 2013 and stuff. He's really good, and he was really good in Halo 5 as well. So I've no doubt. And
Jim's just good at any Halo he plays, really.
Yeah, the talent's there. And I think Hollers is also insane at Halo 3. And I think to run them off lanes is a really good leader. And he also has a lot more individual skill in Halo 3 than he did in Halo 5. So I think they're a good team. I think a lot of people will just like underlook them because really European Halo low. But I think they could actually go and take some games off some decent teams. I
don't think they're going to be like better or worse with Jimbo than Hams, but it's gonna be a different kind of. They're probably gonna play a little bit differently because Jimbo's more of an in your face. He'll get an overkill, grab the flag, and then get another overkill while running the flag.
Jimbo's the sort of guy who I always thought he does the dirty work. He does a lot of the work that doesn't get the glory. And it was a massive thing for me whenever he was playing Halo or Halo 5 and he got dropped. That time, arguably why I thought Halo or EU Halo did so poorly in the next event after that. But I think he's the sort of guy who does the dirty work and, he gets those assists in. He's not necessarily the top killer. He's not necessarily, a guy who runs the flag in all the time. He's just somebody who sets up well. And
he's just a sick all-rounder, man.
Yeah.
I still can't believe he got dropped. Don't even get me started on that.
I'm not
starting it's just a scapegoat of the situation.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. We placed top 6, but we're going to drop you. See you.
I mean, we talked about that in the last podcast about the state of EU Halo and how that ended up happening. That we went from like a top 6 finish to I think we finished top 12 the next one or something like that.
Yeah, the Mexicans took over us.
We've not made out of top 12 since.
Yeah, so it was just a crazy turnaround. Yeah.
So now we've kind of looked at this new roster. Now let's kind of go into what's coming up. So, for example, kind of as the title of the podcast kind of suggests, the road to Infinite. What I'd like to do is kind of go starting with Kayla, kind of go through kind of each person and what you're kind of hoping to see. Let's kind of be a bit broad here. We'll go kind of with both sides. For example, kind of competitive multiplayer, HCS and everything, but also kind of the core features of the game as well, and support and PC potentially and everything along then. So kind of the floor is yours. What would you personally like to see, regardless of competitive or anything like that, but what would you just love to be in kind of Halo Infinite?
controversial battle royale. I know it's controversial, but battle royale probably. Look, I'm not a guy who likes battle royale. I actually really don't play it that often. It's not a fan for me. But it's more for the long game. It's more for if we want to have a long lasting community this time round. Unfortunately, we're going to need to carry something like battle royale in, and I always thought battle royale was going to slow down and we were going to find something else, but something else hasn't appeared yet. The type of genre of game, we had such a change in the first person shooters, and then it sort of went from that to evolved into battle royale. That there's the evolution hasn't appeared yet, so battle royale will be about, I think, by the time Halo Infinite comes out, and it's something that they're gonna need to do in order to bring in a community. Otherwise, you got something like you look at something like, for example, Titanfall 2. It was an amazing game, fantastic game competitively and playing online, but it got nowhere near any reception because it didn't fit in with the models of, say, a Fortnite or a PUBG. It didn't evolve. It just kept, that same first-person shooter, and it was nobody's radar. I know it's got a lot more attention now since the rise of Apex, but that there, if you're going to have any chance of getting a long-lasting community into that game and being a Fortnite killer, then you're going to need Battle Royale, unfortunately.
It'd be interesting to see if they did their own variation of it, like kind of how Apex has, but just I would personally think kind of just the bog standard you drop in, everyone survives. It has to take a bit of a unique spin, I would always think.
I seen is it Will, what do you call him the second
Will Cameron.
Yeah, he did a fantastic idea for Battle Royale, in which there were 6 different species or classes. Again, you could evolve that into different class ranks, like Spartan, different Spartans, different if they bring in new classes for Infinite, for example. I mean, every game sort of brings in its own new class of enemy or class of hero. So you could all the time evolve into that, and you'll have ODSTs dropping in, guys dropping in on Banshees, it's the potential is there. If there's ever a game or universe that is fit for a battle royale, it is actually Halo. More so than any game that I can think of that hasn't done it yet. It'd be interesting for that, and hopefully there is continuous support about that, but also that it doesn't take away from the competitive side, which would be hopefully there probably will be competitive nature for both battle royale and both standard 4v4.
Yeah, that's kind of going to lead into what I was going to say, is that I hope that Infinite just listens to like what Halo actually is like a core game. I think the biggest problem with Halo 4 and Halo 5 is especially Halo 5 is if they weren't called Halo, it would be received a lot differently. So people would be a lot more on board with how Halo 5 plays if it didn't have the legacy to live up to of the original games. Now, I'm not just saying get rid of all the abilities, go back to classic. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that I think Free for Free have kind of realized that they've kind of came out and acknowledged that we kind of screwed up. We kind of really tried to make our games different from Bungie intentionally. So they wanted to have their own spin on things. So even though what Bungie did was great and it worked, they wanted to do something else just to prove a point. But I think now, especially I would say ever since the initial MLG announcement, over a year and a half ago, they've really been opening their earlogs a little bit and trying to listen to what people are saying. I think Infinite as a game needs to have not only a good campaign, because Halo 5 was so shit. Pardon my language, it was so bad.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Needs to have a really good campaign, and there might be RPG elements, maybe Destiny with endgame content. I've heard loads of rumors about that. It needs to have all of the content multiplayer wise from Halo 5 plus more. So it needs to have iconic game types like Infection, Oddball, King of the Hill, etc., etc. Even stuff like Headhunter from Reach, that was niche but fun. That was such an underrated game type. Stuff like Forge on launch needs to have a working theater, because Halo 5 theater has Tourette's. I don't know what's going on. It's just like showing things and showing things, and I'm just like, what? That did not happen. And it just needs like to all be like functioning. Like I feel like Halo 5's UI is like really simple and dated. Like I feel like MCC now runs better in Halo 5. Like I get on to stream Halo 5 and like my menu glitches out like 50% of the time when I'm searching. I'm just like, how does that even happen? I'm just searching for a game, bro. I'm not even doing anything complicated here. So I for launch, I want them to like stick to Halo's guns, and then after launch, they'll probably ask for feedback because like they're not going to make decisions without feedback because like if I hired I can't think of his name just now, but like he followed me recently. He's like his whole job is the whole voice the leader of voice or whatever.
Yeah, he's currently in Sweden at the moment, because they're doing round feedback. I don't know who they're doing it with, but they're doing kind of round feedback in different countries on kind of what Halo Infinite is. It wouldn't surprise me kind of on how 5 was done that you will see there's kind of this it's called VMC.
Yeah, he's called Rob. There you go, from them. So Rob, he's just trying to like find out what people want, and I think after like launch, like once they've like launched everything, like as people like intend with Halo, they'll start to take risks, and then they'll be like, how do you guys feel about this? And that's how it should be. Launch the game as a Halo game, right, and then expand on it. Don't try and like change what Halo is, because Halo's already been established for nearly 2 decades now. Just like make a Halo game and then change it as to how people want it to be changed.
Cool. Mike?
So off the bat, it's like when I mean Infinite launch, I don't just mean like day one. I mean like the first few weeks, maybe to a couple months after release. So a couple of things I want. I want the game to be finished, which is something that we've struggled with the last couple of times. I want to see like hardcore settings from day one. Even they might still need to be tweaked and things and stuff, but like every Halo's gone through like 7 or 8 batches of settings by now. And then I want to see like if I understand.
Hold on, one thing. So you know MCC, right? They've been doing that. So you know every ramp players in MCC, they had the whole it's called Arena, I think. Yeah. They've just completely got them for Halo 2 Classic and Halo 2 Anniversary, and they've replaced them with Hardcore. I think that's what they need to do for Infinite as well. So like, every ramp players in Infinite needs to be competitive. Why the hell in Halo 5 do I have an assault rifle on doubles with a radar? Like it could be so sick, and there's like a gravity hammer topping on truth. Like what is going on, boys? It's not really the most fun settings. Like even as a casual player, I don't really see people would enjoy that. So yeah, I think they've kind of realized as well that rank should be ranked, and then like social should be like truly social. Sorry for interrupting you. I forgot to mention that. You mentioned like something.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, even if it's like just this maps, and then they slowly start adding in like test settings and forge maps as we go. But the main thing I want to see is like if I understand like it might not be a perfect release, and like every major title comes out with some small bugs and things here and there and glitches. But I want to see these get like if these get discovered, I want to see them fixed like straight away, because it's like how long has Halo 5 been out for, and we still get like menu glitches, we still get the custom game team glitches where players can't change teams or go to observers and stuff. It's like how it's a little disappointing that a game 3.5 years after release is still having these kind of problems.
Yeah, cool. Now, kind of my take on it, what I'd like to see was something that could basically kind of how can I word this? Originally, when Halo 5 was going to be coming out and they kind of announced how Arena was going to work, I'll kind of lead into this. They showed a concept of kind of you play Arena, you get placed into a certain rank category, you then play with people within that rank category, and it's kind of how Fortnite is at the moment with their competitive side. You literally just play your games within this playlist, and if you get to like top 100, you actually win money or get invited to invitations. I'd like to see them actually kind of go with that, because it never actually happened. They completely scrapped that altogether once they had already done the beta. And remember, it had a completely different ranking system previously. It was kind of regionalized. Everyone had different ranks within there.
Yeah.
But I'd like them to kind of take on what I hate to say it, kind of take something from what Fortnite has. This event's on. If you get within this amount, you get all this. Like you get kind of whatever their
Yeah.
Spartan coins, for example. You win this, and if you're in the top 100 or top 50, you then qualify for this, your roster or however it is.
Yeah.
But the one thing I want, and this is just kind of me and the years and years of kind of dealing with this, is a fully functioning theater and spectator mode, because if they're going to do it on PC, they can just
Oh, dude.
they can
The
literally
PC community will not have a bad spectator mode. They'll be
And-
like, this game sucks.
they
See
just
ya.
kind of they take from what Halo 5 had when they finally released the broadcaster mode, because that the concept of it was brilliant. The whole menu you saw on the side, a bit of a change, maybe put at the top and bottom. But if they kind of followed what kind of Counter-Strike has, like literally you could follow each person and then you could even go and actually see their lines of sight and everything. I would just love to actually see just something than what we've had, and especially kind of now we've gone back to Halo 3. There's no way to spectate unless kind of doing what Kalen's done previously with Halo 3 Cups, where he's had to actually get these players to stream, then he restreams the said restream, and there could just if there's just a
Yeah.
little bit of lag, it kind of ruins the whole thing. That's all I want. I just want a fully functioning like broadcast mode.
Yeah. Matt, as well, just seeing a few messages on the stream. Your mic is a bit low in terms of the output to
Yeah, I've just
the guys.
I just turned it up a few moments ago, so hopefully
Hopefully it's
everyone-
fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
No.
sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's perfectly fine. So we've kind of gone through kind of Master Chief Collection. We've gone through the PC announcement. We've also kind of we've delved into dived into kind of Halo Infinite. We'll kind of what are you hoping to see? And we'll start with kind of Mike this time around. What are you hoping to see come E3? There is no Sony. Microsoft has the floor. There is literally hopefully there's nothing they can do that could screw this up, but I've been kind of shown the error of my ways before. What do you want to see at E3 for Halo Infinite?
Okay, so there's two sides to this. There's the what I want to see, and then there's what I'm expecting to see.
Yeah.
So in both instances, we're probably going to see some, like, the first 5 minutes of like the first campaign mission, or definitely some kind of like gameplay of like where they've come so far and showing off the new engine. Which I think would be great to start. I'd like to see a release date, but we probably won't get one because they've been we'll release it when it's ready sort of thing. I'd like to see if there's any show-offs, maybe some of the, like, I know they've said they wanted to do a reach style like armor system with the customization. Maybe see some of the like the concepts of those if some of those are already ready, and see if they've, like, because like every Halo has like its own set of like new game types. Like we had things like Headhunter and Reach. We had things like Strongholds in Halo 5, even though it was like a domination take. Maybe if there's a new kind of game type for Infinite that we don't know about, that I'd quite like to see.
Bring back Invasion.
But
Yeah, bring back Invasion, please. Please bring it back.
those are the best.
No, cool.
Yeah, I want to make
No, cool. Kalen, what would you like to see specifically with Infinite coming to E3?
So I've mentioned my own prediction of what I think is going to happen. I think Microsoft have a lot to live up to. Again, they arguably won E3 last year. I thought every other press conference, PlayStation was really weak last year, and for the console that's been sort of winning the console award, their conference was pretty weak. EA was abysmal. Bethesda, they all glitz and glass, but everything that they've been since Fallout 76 was a nightmare. So Microsoft was brilliant. Cyberpunk, Halo Infinite, all the new indie studios that they announced. So it's going to be a great E3 for them again. And I think they're going to open with a new console.
Yeah.
I think the rumors is that there's going to be two consoles, a high-end one and a lower-end one. And they're also going to continue with the Xbox One X and Xbox One to release games. So Halo Infinite will be on both the new gen console and Xbox One. So that's going to open questions up for crossplay again between Xbox consoles.
Yeah.
I mean, because there was not necessarily any crossplay between 360 and Xbox One, you know. So again, that's going to open up that sort of can of worms. How that's they've got different code names. I've seen rumors. A French newspaper came out with it. There are a news article. But in terms of Halo Infinite, I think it's going to be on the new console. I think it's going to show off new gameplay. Like Mike said, mission gameplay, maybe campaign, and I think it's going to demo open world on the new engine. I think we're going to see return to open world gameplay because there's been a lot of job postings that come up looking senior design engineers with experience in RPG elements, suggesting that there may be an open world sort of tone to this all. I think that they'll show off that announcement date. I think they will give it. I think they'll give a rough region Q4 2020 or else Q3 2020.
Yeah.
I think they actually will come out with that. They have traditionally always come out with that at previous E3s about when a good year, that cycle in terms of that Halo cycle. I think they're gonna show off things like customization, like the Reach style, and it's back and better. This that. And I think they're going to announce, along with the Halo Insiders program that was announced last week, I think they're going to announce that there'll be a beta available to those Halo Insiders, probably at the end of this year or start of next year. And then they'll drop a bomb at the very end and be like, oh, yeah, one more thing. MCC is now available on Steam and Microsoft Store. Go on ahead. And it's now available, Reach is now available the Xbox One X and Xbox One if you have MCC.
And the whole internet just sets
Yes.
The whole internet just
We're back.
So just one thing to just quickly go back on, because I realised I didn't even ask the question. Do you three think that because we already own Master Chief Collection that we will get that title for free? Because my theory is because if they're doing it through the Windows Store, kind of on how Xbox was, you own a first party title, you get it automatically free.
No, they're not. That's MCC came out before that program was initiated, and they're actually running with that so that you may actually have to buy it.
Oh,
yeah.
I know.
Again. I know they've already said they want to do like the campaigns like separately.
I think I saw Sketch say something like they would like consider compensating people who already own MCC on console. So I think they're considering it, but yeah, I think the current business model right now is they're doing the multiplayer to be free, and then you choose to pay for the campaigns that you want to buy as they come out. So, but we'll see, because like if you signed up to the whole Insider program, you have to connect your Steam anyways. So they might recognize that you've already got it on your Xbox, like, and I don't know how it's gonna work
through email addresses and things.
Yeah, I hope they consider it, because it's kind of messed up, dude. Well, not super messed up, but like. We've dealt with a broken MCC for years. Like, at least give us some compensation.
Yeah. Okay. So, to the rest, kind of Mike, what would you specifically like to hope for?
What for? Just for E3?
Yes.
No, you didn't ask me.
You asked Mike.
Yeah.
You feel alright, man. Try to take a minute. Yeah. Well, apart from what I've already said before, I think just maybe a couple of release dates to say we're going to do an open beta on this one, whether you're an insider or not, and say like, okay, for like the second weekend of November, well, a couple of weeks, you can play this game for free, and tell us what you think, and open up more feedback. I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think the guys have said everything that I was going to say. I think they'll reveal on a new console, and they'll be like, oh, this is our new console, and Infinite will be a launch title, and everyone will be like, whoa, and then like I think they're really going to tap into nostalgia, because I think with the whole reveal trailer, when they played the piano note, everyone lost their shit. Like, everyone was like, oh my god, like Halo's back. So I think they're going to really tap into nostalgia. They're going to show like the whole Zeta Halo, which is like the part in Halo which the game will be on. They'll show the old Covenant redesign back, and everyone will be like, "Oh my god, the elites don't look like they're having a meltdown anymore." Um, I think they'll show like classic weapons come back. I still think like because like in the reveal trailer there's like the H5 BR. I think it'll be like a mix. So you'll have like the Halo 2 BR or Halo 3 BR, whatever you want to call it, and like I like it a retconned I guess Halo 5 BR where it's like more sleek, but you can kind of tell it's chunkier, stuff like that. I think they'll reveal whenever they want to test the game. They'll be like, yeah, we're going to be rolling it out in this like specific time period. They won't give a date, but they'll be like, this is like when we want to plan kind of how to do it. And then there'll be MCC's out as well. I also think there'll be like a surprise MCC announcement, or they'll be like it's really close. It'll be coming in the next couple of months, if latest. So I think they're going to put all the guns for the C3 because last C3 they just showed a trailer. Like, I think they're going to show a lot.
And that was it. I think maybe like a cheeky announcement that says, as a result of us being at E3, you can now play Reach.
I think
And just release it there and then.
Yeah.
I actually don't think they'll show a whole lot.
Yep.
I think they'll show snippets. They'll not show a whole lot. You have to remember there's probably going to be another E3 next year that's going to have a lot of it. If it does go by the fall 2020 prediction, because I don't think it's going to be released this year. I'd be really shocked if it was released this year because Microsoft had this marketing cycle and they like to have that space, and I'd be really shocked if they went this year.
But at the same time, like they're gonna have the whole Insider program, so like people inside the Insider program, once you're in it, and like people like if they do it at the end of this year, people will have been playing it for 6 months by the time the next E3 rolls around. So what is that really going to show? Like at that E3, if people have already been playing it for 6 months.
Halo 5 had some similar, did it not, in terms of beta?
Yeah, no, but like, the beta, but that was a real beta, as in like there was a certain time frame.
Well.
If you're inside the program, you're in it forever. So once you get Infinite, you have it. You can play it whenever. So I don't know. Maybe they could show some things, but like, I think like they're gonna show a lot this C3 and like really hype it up, and then use it like the next like E3 afterwards to like kind of like show some new things and like get people on board who haven't already got on board. I think a lot of people would already be playing it at that point.
I'm actually curious now. Now thinking about it, it could be a shock that it could come this year, and we just haven't been told anything. But I know it's unlikely. But I mean, if they do announce a new console at this E3, consoles lead times to their release actually are quite short from E3. And if it is going to be a launch title, apparently by the rumors and by the news articles, so would that suggest that early 2020?
Potentially, man.
If there's new console, because from my memory, Switch, Xbox One, PS4 all had like a real short lead time from E3's announcement or their own announcement. I mean, it was like 5 months, and all of a sudden it was on the shelf.
Yeah. Well, they are showing people the build itself at the moment, so there is some form of that game that's ready to be played. I think kind of not the end of this year, definitely not, but kind of the start of next year, kind of first quarter. Now the only reason I kind of go in that angle is especially as well kind of with the beta, because yes, we had our public beta the year before, and they've always said every single Halo game is going to have public betas. When it's never going to happen again, like Master Chief Collection launch. But with Halo 5, when we had that small open beta for everyone that owned kind of Master Chief Collection, there was an additional beta that ran for, I'd say, about 5 months during that period, where just players would play through that continuously. Now, that's not happened yet, as far as I'm aware. Actually, no, it's not happened at all. There's been no correspondence. So it would, if they were launching it kind of near the end of the year, that would be happening already. We're near the end of March now. It's going into April for no kind of private beta or kind of closed beta. Nothing's happened yet. But kind of, if we're leading into the first quarter, something maybe around summertime, if that actually started happening, then yes, I could definitely see it coming out. But I
have an idea. I just thought of it. It's because of you, Matt. You just made my brain think of something. So what I think might happen, right, is right. So you know how going back to Halo 5, yeah, the beta was like very small. Like, there was like a very confined like things we could play. I think what they might do. This is like me putting on my tinfoil hat here, but like instead of like it being a beta, obviously, like the content size of this apparent build that we might play might be a lot larger. So like, um, you know how they already have builds played in Office and stuff.
Yeah.
If they already have builds now, like imagine like what we could be playing in like 6 months' time. Like if they already have like functioning builds, like we could have like a decent chunk of a game potentially played like multiplayer wise. So like obviously they're going to be testing like specific parts. Like, oh, we want you to test multiplayer, but like, it could be like a decent size like portion of the multiplayer. So like it could be like I don't want to say it, but it could be like early access, dude. Like kind of like really
Green
kind of
light.
early access, like yeah, and like it'd be kind of like we'd be like playing the game early basically until like its eventual launch where everything is ready, and then like the final like consumer base can play it. I think we'll be able to test the campaign as well, man. I think there'll be points where we can play the campaign like, early.
Mm. Yeah, because there is that thing where they're saying it, especially with it being open world, they might take the whole page out of Destiny's book where there is the Master Chief as the main protagonist, but there's also that offshoot of the RPG element. I hope not, but well, I can't remember specifically where I read it, but there is indications that it's kind of going down that route. You're an individual, and then your character in this kind of RPG element carries over into the actual PvP side. I'm not 100% on that, but I wouldn't want to see that. Not
Yeah,
really.
I've heard like some different things about that. Like so, like, apparently you start off as Master Chief and he has his own like campaign. And then once you beat said campaign, he leaves the Halo, and then it basically feels like a page out of like Halo Reach's book where your Spartan then comes onto Zeta Halo, and like they set up like an outpost and shit, and then they're basically that's the end game content. So then like you've got all the upgrades that you got as like Master Chief, for example, on your Spartan now, and then you've got all the end game content. It'd be like Spartan Ops in a way where they can keep adding to it. And like I saw a tweet like a month ago, and it was liked by Grim, who's like the lore guy over at Free for Free, and I can't remember who tweeted it, but he was like a prophetic figure in the lore community as well. He was like, well, the way that they're talking about Infinite, they could probably do like huge mini DLCs where like they could have like a whole spin-off campaign based on the Arbor, and it didn't even need to be on Zeta Hill. It could be like in a completely different place, and like it could be its own like sanctioned DLC inside the game, and they can keep adding onto like a storyline, so they can create their own like mini story line, like similar to like Marvel Universe inside one game. And I think that'd be sick. Like, I'd be totally down for that. I'd love to play as the Arbor again. I think he's like one of the most underrated characters, and he's like everyone loves him. He's not in the games. Like he's like in like 2 scenes in Halo 5, and I'm just like, what? Are you kidding me? Yeah, sick.
No, cool. Well, first off, thank you, Batchford, for joining us. Again, Mike, Kalen, always a pleasure. Thank you for everyone kind of joining us in the Twitch chat. If you're listening on the audio version, thank you for listening. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. We greatly appreciate you guys actually joining us, or at least listening or watching the on-demand version. Our next episode, we will announce the date as soon as we know. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at GG Nightfall. We're going to have more content, more discussion, hopefully more versions of this coming forward. But is there anything you'd like to plug, really, Batchford, going forward?
Have you guys heard of Twitch Prime?
Sorry, mine goes to Jimbo.
Mine goes to Naded, sorry.
As well for you guys, I won't judge you. They're good content creators as well. All right.
You've got my next one, sir.
I would say my Twitter is @Batchford_, and my Twitch is Batchford. So if you want to find out what shenanigans I'm getting up to, probably raging at my teammates, follow those social medias. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed my time here.
No, cool. Thank you very much. As well with Kalen, it's @Euro for Halo, and then for Mike, if you want to do it specifically, because I always struggle with this one.
Yeah, at MK Viable Vanity.
There we go. Cool. We'll post those up in the description if you're watching on the VOD. So thank you again, gentlemen, and thank you again to everyone that's tuned in today. We hopefully will see you all soon. Goodbye.
Right.
Peace out.
Thanks.